Oh no! The chef ran off with the restaurant's money. If this keeps up, the restaurant will go under, and so will my dad. As I headed to the diner I'd become a regular at while traveling, the waitress, looking pale, rushed out of the restaurant. When I asked her what happened, she explained that her father, the head chef, was hospitalized. And another chef they trusted had taken all the restaurant's money. I'm currently unemployed, but I used to be a chef at a fancy restaurant in New York. But, considering what I did, is it really okay for me to step in? The waitress in front of me hung her head and started to cry. I mustered up my courage and made a suggestion. I was a chef. Maybe I can help. If you don't mind, could you let me use your kitchen for a week? My name is John. I'm 32 now, and though it might sound strange hearing from me, I've caused an unbelievable amount of trouble for many people. Today, I want to share my story. After graduating high school, I didn't go to college and instead I chose to go to culinary school without hesitation. At that time, I was thrilled by the dream of becoming a chef. Looking back now, I think I was quite innocent then. In culinary school, as long as you graduate, you basically get a chef's license. I studied the basics diligently from the start, graduated, and entered the culinary world. After graduating, I got a job at a fancy restaurant in New York. You might get an idea of the chef's world from a TV show that once made waves depicting a chef's growth. It's really strict with hierarchy, and the one who joins even a day earlier is your senior. Initially, you're only allowed to do menial tasks like cleaning, washing dishes, and taking out the trash. Some classmates in the dorm even had to do their seniors' laundry. I endured such treatment and trained intensively for 3 years. I think these 3 years were about building endurance, dealing with the instructions and sometimes unreasonable demands from seniors, and seeing if you could keep up. Another important thing to learn during this period is building physical strength. Chefs are often thought to just make meals, but it's actually physically demanding. You need as much power as someone in a sports team. A stock pot can weigh several kilograms when full, and flour or sugar comes in 60-pound bags. So your arms ache with muscle pain every day until you get used to it. After 3 years of training, I returned to my family's restaurant, the Johnson, to work under my father. But initially, I think I was spoiled because I was his son. I thought I'd get to cook right away, but I had to start from scratch, doing menial tasks again. What? I've been training for 3 years. I don't care. Here, you're a rookie. I can't let someone like you handle a knife. Why not? If I let you make food for our customers, the restaurant would go under. You're in the way standing there. Go wash those pots. I never got along with my dad. We clashed and yelled at each other constantly. After 5 years of that, I secretly started thinking about going independent. Then my dad suddenly passed away. It was a day off for the restaurant, but my mom got worried when he didn't wake up even by noon and found him already gone. He was struck by acute myocardial infarction, the most common cause of sudden death. So at 27, I suddenly had to take over my dad's role. I always wanted to cook. I wanted many people to eat the food I made and be happy. Even though my wish was finally coming true, I was terrified. The Johnson was a well-known restaurant in the area. The pressure of running that restaurant was immense. After my dad's sudden death, customers visibly dwindled. But that was a testament to how great my dad's cooking was and how much people loved it. I realized how great my dad was only after he was gone. I was prepared to close the restaurant, but I remembered why I came back to this place and why I wanted to become a chef. So I decided to work like my life depended on it. I aimed to faithfully recreate my father's flavors and improve our service. I was the first to arrive in the morning and the last to leave at night. On my days off, I would go out to study the service and flavors of famous restaurants. Seeing me like this, the employees who were halfway considering closing the restaurant re-evaluated their attitudes toward work. First, there was my senior, Tom. We all called him Big Tom because he was my mentor and always looked out for me. Even the waiters who directly interacted with customers started supporting my vision. I think we were all desperate during this time. Initially, people came to the restaurant because it was my father's place, but they began to spread the word about our hard work and service. And those people posted about us on social media. Thanks to that, the restaurant gradually became lively again. As the employees worked smoothly together, we eventually received the highest ratings for our food and service on social media. Even amateur reviews made us happy. And then, without us even realizing it, our restaurant, the Johnson, was featured in the Michelin Guide. What's more, we received the highest rating of 3 stars. 1 star means a very good restaurant in its category. 2 stars mean excellent cooking, worth a detour. 3 stars mean exceptional cuisine, worth a special journey. Our restaurant was rated as a place worth traveling to just for the food. We received 3 stars on our first listing. This was unprecedented. I was on cloud 9. But receiving this rating made me completely arrogant. The 3 stars were a recognition of the restaurant, not of me personally. Yet, I got cocky and started yelling at the employees for being slow. Now, I understand. I see how arrogant and selfish I was. I was acting like a conceited fool. It's no wonder that people like Big Tom, who had to put up with my snide remarks, were unhappy. The camaraderie we had once shared began to dissipate, and I was constantly frustrated when things didn't go smoothly. Then one day, a decisive event occurred. During a lunch break, I raised my voice. That was the last straw for Big Tom. Enough is enough. You're just a second-generation owner. We helped because we appreciated your father, not you. What do you think you're doing? Big Tom? How dare you talk to us like that? You couldn't have done anything without us, right? You're just a rookie acting all high and mighty. Big Tom blurted out all at once and slammed a bottle of cooking oil on the floor. The bottle was the Johnson flavored oil. It was made by my grandfather, whom I respected greatly. The bottle shattered with a crash, spilling its contents on the floor. Grandpa's oil. At that moment, something snapped inside me, and before I knew it, I was grabbing Big Tom by the collar. Big Tom! Calm down. John, stop it. Calm down. Everyone immediately stepped in to stop us, and fortunately, Big Tom wasn't hurt. But at that moment, a freelance journalist named Mark, who had come to request an interview, saw everything. The incident quickly became news, and bad rumors spread like wildfire. Online news, social media, gossip among students and housewives. By the next day, reservations were canceled, customers stopped coming, and we were forced to close the restaurant. It was only then that I realized how foolish I had been and how much of a jerk I had become. I brought this on myself. After paying the employees their wages and severance pay up to that day, I left all the remaining procedures to the lawyer and left New York. Eventually finding myself in my father's hometown of Vermont. This is the town where my grandfather lived as a cooking oil maker. Feeling nostalgic, I wandered aimlessly. I walked for about an hour. Eventually, hunger struck, and I turned into an alley where I spotted a building that looked like a diner. There was a sign hanging at the entrance, but it was too worn to read. As I approached, I caught a whiff of a wonderful aroma. Is this broth soup? The smell was nostalgic and clearly crafted with care. It smells just like the one my father used to make. Drawn in by the aroma, I stepped inside. Welcome! Inside, contrary to the exterior, stood a beautiful woman in pretty clothes. She looked to be in her late 20s, and her elegant, enchanting smile left me momentarily frozen. She quickly brought over water and a hand towel. What would you recommend? Well, everything is good, but how about the stew, a traditional dish of this region? Today's stew includes mountain vegetables and mushrooms. I'll have that, please. Certainly. The woman retreated to the kitchen. While waiting for the food, the aroma of the broth filled the room, almost bringing me to tears. Trying to hide my emotions, the food soon arrived. The meal was exceptional. The broth was highlighting the ingredients' natural flavors. The meat was tender, with condiments that complemented rather than overshadowed the aroma, and I finished the meal in no time. It was truly delicious, and I was thoroughly satisfied. Thank you for the meal. On my way out, I stayed at a hotel near the station that night. From that day on, I frequented the diner daily. It wasn't just the food, perhaps it was also to see the woman's bright smile. As I kept visiting, I learned more about her. Her name was Emily. She was the waitress of the diner Sagan, and I felt that many customers, like me, came to be healed by her smile. a week after arriving in Vermont. I decided